Hello everyone, at 1995 here in the video game fanfiction plot with a new chapter for you all of Rock of Steel. I do hope you enjoy it, and remember, I do not own the Transformers Prime series or any music within this video, and I give full credit to its author HaleyMoss on Wattpad.
Chapter 21, One Shall Fall Part 2. Ella POV. True to Ratchet's word, he had to be up at 6 a.m. I could just wring his neck right now. He had us up at the butt crack of dawn. Doesn't he know teenagers like to sleep? Here I was laying down on the same gnee that I was yesterday, with Ratchet about to stick a human-sized needle in my arm. Ratchet, why do we have to be up this early? And can I go back to sleep while you do this? I asked. No, you may not. I don't want you to rip off the needle in your arm in your sleep. Let's talk more about spark mates and spark bonding. Ratchet said. Really? Now? I asked. Yes, now that you can spark bond, we have to talk about this just in case you decided to in the near future. Ratchet said. Okay, hit me with it, Doc. I said. He huffed with the Doc name. Right, so you know that when a spark mate feels them pulling them towards each other, and well, now you'll feel the pull now too if your spark mate is calling for you. When you spark bond, it's when both partners open their chest open to reveal their sparks, and then they stick their sparks together. After that, it's up to you when you are ready to interface. I will show you images of our, how would you say it? Ratchet said. Your private parts? I asked. Yes. We will start the images. Have you ever seen a human male's spike? Ratchet asked. I know, Ratchet. I said. My cheeks burning red. I saw a fem interfacing unit and how it works and everything. It was basically just like ours but made of metal. It was below their armor, which is called their protoform. All right, now spike time. Ratchet said like it was no big deal. What I saw next is what I saw in health class as the male privates, only huge and just huge. How would that work if I were to spark bond to someone right now and if we wanted to interface? That huge thing would kill me, Ratchet. Do you have one of those that big? I said, and I asked. Oh, I can't believe I just asked that, I said to myself mostly. Well, I have one, and we're not going to discuss my size. Since now we have holoforms, it would work the same way. They would still be able to feel the pleasure, just not as much as it would be if you were a Cybertronian. Ratchet said. 3. Wow, this is a lot to take in. I know I am not ready to have sex. I am only a teenager, which I know some teens have sex as early as 13. That's just weird. I would like to wait until I am 17 or 18 to have sex. The only one I can picture myself having sex with or being with is Magnus forever. I feel if something is pulling me towards him and only him. Could it be? Is my spark calling for Magnus? I have to be sure and see if his spark is pulling towards me. Ratchet removed the needle out of my arm and put a small band-aid over it. Then he handed me this glowing blue cube and said, here, drink this. You'll need it if you want to eat normal food, as you said, and if you want to live. I looked at it. It kind of reminded me of a blue slushy. What is it? I asked. It's an Energon cube. You must drink it. All of it, no matter the taste. Go on now. He said. Okay, bottoms up. I said as I started to drink it. It felt like I was drinking a slushy, but it tasted like oil, and then it was kind of sweet tasting. I drank it all, the nothing was left, and handed the cube back to Ratchet. So how did it taste? He asked. It has an oil taste to it, but it was also somewhat sweet. It reminded me of drinking a slushy. I said. What's a slushy? He asked. It's a nice cold drink with different flavors with ice in it. I told him. He nodded. Once I stood up, I felt as if I had just felt so much stronger. Weird. You are free to go, Ella. I suggest you get ready for school. Ratchet said. I waved to him by and off to Ratchet's room where my stuff was put. I used the shower in there, then dried off. I then put on some skinny jeans, with my high-top DCs, then a blue flowing top. I grabbed my packback and my phone. I walked out of Ratchet's room and towards Magnus's room. I looked at my phone and found that it was about 7:20 a.m. I better go wake up Magnus and head off to school. I decided to text Maiko to wake her up. I didn't feel like walking all the way down the hall to Bulkhead's room. Ella, Maiko, get up or you'll be late for school. I know you don't want to get yelled at by Ratchet. Maiko, fine, him up. I'll see you there. Ella, K sour butt. Maiko, okay sweet spark. Ella, are you okay? You not normally this sweet in the mornings. Maiko, that's what Ultra Magnus called you when you were not here anymore. Ella, what does it mean? Maiko, why don't you ask your boyfriend? I can't believe you didn't tell me you all were dating. Ella, who told you? Maiko, Ultra Magnus when you were gone. Because I asked what a sweet spark was and why he called you that. But you ask him, I think it would be much cuter coming from him. Ella, oh okay. But seriously, who are you and what have you done with Maiko? Maiko, scrap on you. Ella / monkey sucks. Maiko, you take that back. Ella, never. I never got another text after that. I guess Maiko couldn't come up with something else to say back. I walked into Magnus's room to see that he was just waking. Wakey sweet spark. I told him. What? What did you say? He asked. I said sweet spark, I like it. Maiko said you called me that. What does it mean? I asked. It means when a mesh cares deeply for one that he calls them sweet spark. He said. So you care a lot about me? I asked. No. Magnus said. I frowned and said, but you just said. I was cut off by Magnus saying I wanted to say this sometime in a place more romantic than this, but I don't just care for you deeply, Ella. I love you with all my spark and more, and my spark has been calling for you since the first time we met. When I thought I lost you, my spark was dying just as you did. I will protect you with everything that I am and more. I wish that we could spark bond. I want to be with you and no one else, Ella, for as long as I am here and alive. Magnus said. I was so touched and glad that he felt the same way about me that I felt about him. I love you too, Magnus. I don't want to be with no one else except you forever. I was afraid to fall for you in the beginning because I was human and you weren't. I never thought you would accept me, especially if your spark mate appeared. I never thought that you would feel the same way about me that I feel about you. I have some good news for you, Magnus. I am able to spark bond with you. I was giving a gift from the 13 primes while I was dead. They gave me a spark instead of a heart, for mine had failed. I know you won't believe me, but Ratchet confirms it. I would want nothing more than to spark bond with you if you will allow me or accept me. I knew I wanted to be with you forever before I was granted the gift of having a spark, but after I received this spark, mine was calling to yours and will forever only call to yours. I told him. Magnus smiled down at me and then said, oh my sweet Ella, I would love to spark bond with you. When would you be ready? He asked. I smiled and said right now would be good. The only ones who are allowed to know that I have a spark are Ratchet, Optimus and the one that is my spark mate. The others can't know until I receive my second gift that the primes granted me, and when it is need will I receive my second gift. I told him. I understand, sweet spark, now come here, I will show you how to spark bond with me. Magnus told me as he lowered his hand to the ground. I hopped on, then he held me close to his chassis, but then he opened it to reveal his spark. It glowed blue and it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I looked up at Magnus to tell him so, but he said, now I will put you close to my spark and your spark should combine with mine. It will not hurt, as I have heard from others. He said as he put me close to his spark. I could already feel my spark merging with his. Ours glowed even more brightly when we merged together. It felt amazing and pleasurable that I let a soft moan. It must have been pleasurable to Magnus as well, because he let out a moan of his own. Once our sparks had merged, we pulled away and I could feel all of Magnus' emotions. Happy, as was I. I can feel your emotions, can you feel mine? I asked. Yes, I can. And I can speak into your mind as you can mine, he said. Really? I asked. Yes, he said. Ella, can you hear me? I could hear Magnus in my mind. So cool. Yes, I can hear you, I told Magnus. He smiled. He could hear me as well. Magnus POV. Bulkhead and I was walking down the hallway when we stopped when we heard a sound inside of Ultra Magnus' room. What was that sound? I asked. Then I heard an even bigger one. Bulkhead, seriously, what was that sound? I asked again. Let's get off to school before you late. Bulkhead said nervously. Seriously, what's going on? I don't have school today, teachers meeting. I totally forgot. I better tell Ella, I said. I went to knock on the door, but Bulkhead grabbed me and went walking off towards the main part of the base. Ugh, Bulkhead! I yelled and groaned. Seriously, what was the big deal in the noises I heard? Ultra Magnus POV. I was finally spark bonded with the one that I loved and I couldn't be any happier. I was still holding Ella when I walked out of my bathroom and into the main base where everyone was standing around the computer listening to the voice of Unicron on Optimus's comlink. I take that as a yes, we are on our way, Ratchet said. I set Ella down on the platform and then Optimus's voice came over again saying negative, Unicron can't be defeated by sheer force. He wants me. This fight must be mine alone. We all looked at each other, but we all had the same idea. We weren't going to let Optimus face him alone. Ratchet opened a ground bridge so that RC, Bulkhead, B and I could go through. Ella POV. I watched them go through to the ground bridge, hoping for safety for all of them including Magnus. Then a few minutes RC came to us saying, Ratchet. Yes, what happened? Ratchet asked. All of a sudden we heard, I happened. Wait, King Kong is the two? Maiko asked. He has aligned himself with Unicron, Ratchet said. Don't be so sure, Megatron just saved Optimus's tailpipe. RC said. He what? I asked. Everyone just looked shocked to say the least. We kept listening to what Megatron was saying when Ratchet yelled the past always matters. Megatron kept explaining how to destroy Megatron or how to get there when RC asked how they were actually going to destroy his spark. With the Matrix of Leadership. Optimus said. What is that? Agent F said. A vessel of pure energy, the collective wisdom of the primes. Ratchet said. Jack then stepped up and asked, do we really have time for a scavenger hunt? I mean, where is Optimus so supposed to find this matrix? Really, Jack? Optimus does not need to find it, he carries it within him. Ratchet said. I wonder if that's what makes him a prime? Then Maiko started to talk saying, okay, wait, if Unicron is he going to stay down there? Yeah, can't we psych him out down there? Jack asked. He's not in the Earth's core, Jack, he is the Earth's core. Raph corrected. Rahale is correct. Tampering with your core could corrupt the magnetic poles. Trigger the events that we are trying to remedy. Tragically, Unicron is your Earth's very seed, always has been and always must be. Ratchet said. Ratchet, send a ground bridge. Optimus said. Ratchet opened up the ground bridge then shut off the comlink. Once the ground bridge was up, it didn't take too long for the bots to come through it. I know desperate times come for desperate measures, but bringing Megatron here to our base. Ratchet said. How can you even think about bringing him here after what he did to Raph and Ella? June said. He will be closely monitored. And only allowed to send us on our journey, not one moment more. Optimus said. I do not whatsoever want to up close and personal with Buckethead himself. Where's Wheeljack when you need him? But how are you gonna stop a con from an airstrike if he knows where it is? Agent F asked. That's a good question. By ground bridging Megatron here he will be unable to get a fix on our coordinates. Optimus said. Jack spoke up saying, Optimus, what's going to happen when all of your matrix energy is released? Another good question. The power within the Matrix has not yet been utilized by human manner. Optimus replied. But you have an idea, don't you? Jack asked again. Optimus turned towards the entrance of the ground bridge but didn't say anything for a few minutes. With Optimus's back still facing us, he then said, Autobots, if humankind is to be saved, I have no choice but to proceed. But you do. All the bots turned towards us. Well, I don't know about humankind, but I am willing to do it. For Miko, Bulkhead said. For Jack, RC said. For Raph, B said. And I for Ella, Magnus said. Optimus then sent Buckethead to come through the ground bridge. Ratchet was pushing Miko to go and hide so Tart Megatron wouldn't see us. No fair, we've never seen him. Why do we have to hide? Miko asked. Because I said so. Ratchet said. So all of us went down to the training room to hide. Ultra Magnus POV. Once the children and 2 adults were safely hidden, we all stood waiting for Megatron to come through the ground bridge. Optimus was standing right in front of it while the rest of us were behind him, standing beside each other. Once we saw Megatron come through, all of us except Ratchet and Optimus raised our weapons at Megatron. So this is where the magic happens? Caught. Megatron said. We still had our weapons aimed at him, for he now stood right in front of Optimus. Ella POV. Once we knew that the bots had turned around, we walked back and stood at the corner where they couldn't see us. Then we saw him. Megatron. Buckethead. I was about to give him a piece of my mind, and I guess Raph had the same idea as me as we stepped forward towards Megatron. Ella, Raph, no. The others said. You. Raph pointed at Megatron and said. Hey Buckethead, you're gonna pay for what you did to us. I yelled at him. I see you both seem to be looking better than the last time we met, little ones. Humans' resilience. Megatron said. Come on Raph, Ella, he isn't worth it. Jack said as he started pulling us away. When we had stepped up to Megatron, RC and Magnus stood in front of us, protecting us in case Megatron decided to attack us. Jack turned around with the rest of us but stopped when Megatron addressed him with "And you." I never forget a face even for a human. Jack turned towards him but then turned back and started walking away. I was walking away as well when I heard Miko yell, "If you double-cross anyone, my face is what you're going to be seeing, and you never forget, never." I heard scuffling and Agent F must have picked her up. Once we had the ground bridge up and ready, we headed back to the bots. Megatron had went through and they all turned towards us. All the others went through but Magnus bent down towards me and pointed to his head and said, "I will keep in touch, my little star blaze." I smiled. Then he went through as well. Plus. Once the ground bridge closed, Miko turned towards me and asked, "Why did he call you Star Blaze?" I just shrugged my shoulders. I didn't want her to know just yet.
Well, that's the ending of that chapter. I do hope you enjoy this video. If you like to see more, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment down below. Until next time.